$1,235 a month from age 35 makes you a millionaire by 60. The same $1,235 a month from age 55 makes you $90,000. Same behavior, same monthly check, wildly different math. That is the question almost every retirement video gets wrong. Is 1 million by 60 actually realistic for someone like me or only for people who started in their 20s? The answer depends on one input and one input only, the age you start. Almost no video shows you the math separately at 35, 45, and 55. They lump it together with a save more, start now line and move on. We are going to do the opposite. 3 honest scenarios. Real numbers, including the case nobody likes to talk about, which is starting close to zero at 55. Half of American households over 65 have less than $95,000 in their retirement accounts. That number comes from Vanguard's How America Saves report. The Federal Reserve Survey shows the median household net worth peaks between 65 and 74 at $410,000, well below a million, which means a million by 60 is above the median curve. It is achievable, and the math tells you exactly what it costs at each starting age. In the next 14 minutes, 4 things. The misconception that keeps almost every smart person from running their real numbers, the actual math at 3 starting ages, 35, 45, and 55, where the math breaks, and the 60-minute Saturday plan to run your specific numbers so by lunch you know exactly which bucket you are in. Here is the way I want to walk this. First, the misconception that keeps most working people from ever running their real numbers. They assume the math works the same at every starting age. It does not, and the difference is bigger than most people guess. Second, the one idea this whole episode runs on. Third, 3 honest math scenarios in order, starting at 35, then 45, then 55. Each one with the actual monthly number, the assumptions, and the realistic ceiling. Fourth, 4 cases where the simple math breaks down. Fifth, the 60-minute Saturday plan in 3 timed blocks. By lunch, you will have your number on a piece of paper. The most common belief that keeps smart people stuck. If I just save more and start now, I will be fine. The math works the same regardless of where I start. This belief is wrong, and it is wrong in a way that costs people years. The math does not scale linearly with time. It scales exponentially. There is a small chart you can write on an index card called the wealth multiplier. It tells you what $1 invested today grows to by retirement at a typical historical return. At age 25, $1 grows to roughly $47 by 65. At 35, $15. At 45, $7. At 55, $3. At 60, $1.50. Each 10 years you delay roughly cuts the final value in half, not by a little, half. This is the part nobody tells you in the generic save now advice. Starting at 35 is fundamentally different math than starting at 55. The same monthly contribution produces a wildly different outcome. At 35, $1,200 a month gets you to a million by 60. At 55, $1,200 a month gets you to about $90,000 by 60. The behavior is identical, the math is not. Until you see the math separately at 3 different starting ages, you cannot make a real plan. You are running a generic spreadsheet against a specific life. The one idea that runs everything. Reaching $1 million by 60 is one goal with 3 completely different math problems hidden inside it. The starting age is the variable that changes everything. 35, 45, and 55 each have a different monthly number, a different realistic ceiling, and a different lever that matters most. Once you see the 3 side by side, you can stop running the wrong math against your specific life. Let me walk all 3. Same goal, 1 million by 60. Same return assumption, 7% real, which is the historical inflation-adjusted return of the S&P 500 over roughly the last 100 years. Different starting ages. Scenario 1, starting at 35. You have 25 years, the math is friendly. To reach 1 million by 60, starting from a balance near zero, you need to invest roughly $1,235 a month every month for 25 years at 7% real return, about $15,000 a year. If you earn $80,000 a year, that is 18% of pre-tax income. If you earn $120,000, 12%. Both are achievable for most middle-class households once they get clear about what is going to lifestyle and what is going to wealth. The cheat code at this stage is the employer match. If your job offers a 100% match up to 4% of salary, that is free money. $80,000 salary, 4% match is $3,200 a year your employer adds in. Compounded for 25 years at 7%, that match alone becomes about $200,000 of your final balance. You do not work for that, the match works for you. Sarah Stanley Fellow published an update of the Millionaire Next Door research in 2018. She found something the financial industry does not advertise. 80 to 86% of American millionaires build their wealth on a regular paycheck. Not inheritance, not a windfall. The variable was savings rate, not income. Starting at 35, the math is the math. $1,200 a month plus the match plus 25 years of patience becomes $1 million by 60. Scenario 2, starting at 45, you have 15 years. The math gets noticeably harder. To reach 1 million from near zero by 60 at the same 7%, you need to invest roughly $1,900 to $2,300 a month depending on whether you have any starting balance already compounding, around $25,000 a year. If you earn $130,000, that is 19% of pre-tax income. If you earn $160,000, 15%, doable, aggressive, still on the table. The good news at 45 is that the US tax code helps you in a way it does not help the 35-year-old. Starting at age 50, you can put an extra $8,000 per year into a 401k on top of the regular $24,000 limit. That is the catch-up contribution. From age 60 to 63, the IRS allows an even higher catch-up, $11,250 extra per year under the Secure 2.0 rules, plus an extra $1,100 per year into an IRA after 50. These limits are on the IRS website. They exist specifically for people who got serious later. The 15-year window is shorter than the 35-year-old's window, but it is long enough for compounding to do most of the heavy lifting if you fully use the catch-up tools. The cheat code at 45 is the health savings account if you have a high-deductible health plan. The HSA is the only account in the US tax code with a triple advantage. Money goes in tax deductible. It grows tax-free. It comes out tax-free for medical expenses. After age 65, you can pull from it for anything taxed like a regular IRA. For a household with capacity, the HSA quietly doubles as an extra retirement bucket worth $100,000 or more by 60. Scenario 3. Starting at 55 from near zero. I want to walk this one carefully because it is the case the internet lies about most. You have 5 years. The math is honest. Reaching 1 million by 60 from near zero in 5 years requires investing about $140,000 per year every year. That is more than the legal contribution limits in any combination of accounts. It is more than most household incomes. It is not realistic, and any video that tells you it is selling you something. Here is what is realistic. If you have an existing balance, say $400,000 from earlier savings, and you contribute the maximum across 401k, IRA, and HSA, you can plausibly reach 1 million by 60. From 400,000 at 55, contributing 40,000 a year combined at 7% real, you land around 840,000 by 60. With the enhanced 60 to 63 catch-up, you can push past 900. Close. But you started with 400, not zero. If you are closer to zero at 55, the honest plan is different. The goal becomes work to 65 or 67, max every catch-up contribution, claim Social Security at 70 instead of 62. 3 levers, all real, all under your control. The compounding window becomes 10 or 12 years instead of 5. The retirement check from the government becomes about $2,275 a month instead of $1,424. That is 60% more every month for the rest of your life. The numbers come straight from the Social Security Administration. With a longer runway, your invested balance can reach 400 to 600,000. Combined with the maximized monthly check, that is roughly the financial picture of a household that hit $1 million with bad sequence of returns. Different path, same destination. The number changes, the math behind the number is the same. Refusing to pretend the 5-year case works is what makes the rest of the plan trustworthy. There are real cases that prove the late start works in the right window. A woman named Becky and her husband, featured on a podcast called Catching Up to FI, reached 50 with zero net worth. 13 years later, age 63, they had crossed $1.3 million. No fancy strategy, aggressive savings rate, automated investing, stayed patient through market drops. The math worked because the runway was 13 years, not 5. 3 scenarios, same goal, 3 different monthly numbers, 3 different levers that matter most. At 35, the lever is consistency. At 45, the lever is the catch-up tools. At 55, the lever is time horizon, work longer, claim later, build the largest possible base. Where the simple math breaks. 4 cases the calculator does not show. First, sequence of returns risk in the first 5 years of retirement. Wade Pfau, who studies retirement income for a living, found something striking. Roughly 77% of your final retirement outcome is determined by the returns of just the first 10 years. If a bear market hits in the first 5 years and you are withdrawing from a depressed balance, the math gets meaningfully harder. The fix is mechanical. Hold 1 to 2 years of expenses in cash or short-term bonds at the start of retirement so you do not have to sell stocks during a downturn. Second, healthcare and long-term care wildcards. The average nursing home runs about $10,000 a month. Assisted living, $5,000. 2 to 4 years of long-term care costs between $200,000 and $400,000. Separate from your normal retirement spending. Without long-term care insurance, that risk eats 20 to 40% of $1 million portfolio. Pretending this is not a variable is the most expensive mistake in retirement math. Third, longevity beyond 95. The 4% withdrawal rule, which most retirement math is built on, was modeled by Bill Bengen in 1994 for a 30-year retirement window. If you live to 95 plus, you are at the edge of that model. Past it, you need a more conservative withdrawal rate, 3.5% instead of 4%, and a longer planning window. Family history matters here. If both your parents lived past 90, plan for 35 years of retirement, not 30. Fourth, genuine income shortage. If your essential lifestyle costs eat 90% or more of your income, the savings rate math is structurally impossible. The lever is income, not small tweaks. 12 months of focus on a salary conversation, a skill that grows your earning power, a small reliable side income, those moves change the math. Tweaking does not. Be honest about which of these 4 is yours. The plan is a tool, not a sermon. It works when the conditions match. When they do not, name the mismatch out loud and use the right path for your situation. Saturday morning, 60 minutes, 3 blocks. By lunch, you will have your specific number on a piece of paper. Block 1, 15 minutes, pull 5 numbers, your current age, your current invested balance summed across every retirement account and brokerage account into one number, your monthly contribution capacity calculated honestly from the last 3 months of bank and credit card statements, your target retirement age, and your return assumption, which I am going to suggest you set at 7% real return. That is the inflation-adjusted historical average of the S&P 500 over the last 100 years. Block 2, 30 minutes, run the math. The US Securities and Exchange Commission has a free compound interest calculator at investor.gov, 5 inputs. Plug in your 5 numbers. The output is your projected balance at 60. Same calculator a fee-only financial advisor would use, available to anyone who can type into a website. Read that number against the 3 scenarios we just walked. If you are at 35 and the projected number is north of $1 million, the math is on your side. If you are at 45 and the number is below 700,000, you are short by an order that demands either savings rate up, retirement age out, or both. If you are at 55 and the number is under 200,000, the goal is not the issue. The goal needs to shift. Block 3, 15 minutes. Identify the one lever to move this quarter, not 5. 1. If your savings rate is below 20% of pre-tax income, that is the lever. If you are not capturing your full employer 401k match, that is the lever. There is no other investment in the world that doubles the moment you make it. If you are over 50 and not maxing the catch-up contributions, that is the lever. Pick one, move it before the next quarter. The math underneath the action. A household earning $100,000, running a 20% savings rate, capturing the full employer match, holding low-cost index funds at 3 basis points in fees, no panic selling for 30 years, ends with roughly $1.5 million in real inflation-adjusted dollars. Same household, 4% savings rate, no match capture, 1.5% fund fees, one panic sell during a downturn, same income, same career, ends with about $300,000. 5 times the gap, same person. The behavior gap is the entire delta. The math just shows you which behavior to fix first. The math is the same whether you run it on a kitchen table or in a financial advisor's office. The calculator is free from the US Securities and Exchange Commission, link in the description below. The 5 inputs are the same 5 inputs an advisor would charge $200 an hour to plug in. Sit down for 60 minutes Saturday morning and run yours. By lunch, you will have your number on a piece of paper. One question for the comments: what is your starting age and what is the one lever you can move this quarter? Comment Millionaire below with your age and your lever in one sentence. I read every comment. If this kind of honest math is the channel you have been looking for, subscribe. There is one new episode every Monday through Thursday.